COVID-19 vaccination has begun. Doctors and other health workers are the ones who are getting vaccinated. But the big question now is, who comes next? Hello and welcome to Straight Line. I am Pallavi Sareen. When vaccination started in Jammu and Kashmir, it was expected that the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, would be the first person to get that first dose. When that did not happen, it created apprehensions in the minds of the doctors who are still a bit reluctant in getting vaccinated. Yet, the phase 1 is continuing, and now the government has to decide who comes next. Across the globe, this debate has started that when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines, since the doses are not unlimited so far, that's why we have to decide which groups are to be prioritized. When the pandemic began, every country had its own way of protecting its population. Some opted for the lockdown, some did not. But in the end, it all boiled down to making sure that all the prevention steps were being taken. But now that the vaccination has started, each country has its own priorities, and CDC is also thinking about this, that a country has to decide its priority groups who need to be vaccinated first according to the objectives of that country. What is your country's objective? Do you want to preserve human life, or do you want the system to keep running? When it comes to preserving human life, then you put the elderly, the comorbid and the weak in the first priority group so that their lives could be saved, since they are at a bigger risk. But when your priority is to keep the system running, then you prioritize the frontline workers and essential workers. But even then, the distinction needs to be drawn. Who is a frontline worker and who is an essential worker? And which one do you need to prioritize? An essential worker, as you know, that the health workers are all essential workers. But the teachers working in education sector, they are also essential workers. But they cannot be called a frontline worker as of today, since online classes are taking place and institutions are not working on ground. But when it comes to frontline workers, who is a frontline worker? A common shopkeeper who deals with public in everyday matters is also a frontline worker. Because the vaccine protects the person who has taken the vaccine from catching COVID-19 infection, but there is no evidence that it prevents transmissibility. That once you catch the COVID-19 infection, you will not be infected because you have taken the vaccine. But it is no guarantee that you will not transmit this virus to someone else who has not been vaccinated. This puts a big question mark on whether or not frontline workers need to be prioritized when it comes to getting vaccinated. The government really has to deliberate upon what their objective is and who they are going to prioritize. And they need to do it quick because the vaccine has a shelf life of just 6 months.